I got hot.
Angry, grabbed a
Like,
bat
why you
and
bother
went to
me,
check.
dog?
All I could hear was struggling noises as my limb.
What's good, boys? You know, I don't even have to say it, man. You guys already know what time it is. Gang up in here, bro. Scary story time. You already know. We got 9 horror stories. Apparently this was in the month of February, so let's see what's up with this, man. Let's see, what's this one called? My mom disappeared and I ate strange meat.
I don't know what to do.
She was eating, dog.
It all started 3 weeks ago. My mom disappeared. She was at home in the morning, nothing different.
Okay.
She hugged me, saying goodbye, wished me luck with school, and gave me a packed lunch. And when I got home that evening, she wasn't there. She didn't come back. So we called the police and all of the search was set up.
Damn, bro,
The
she
whole town
did.
came together and held a giant search.
She didn't disappear, bro. She just left, y'all.
There was no sign of her at all.
No cap, bro.
She had just completely vanished. The weeks since were hell for both me and my dad.
She pulled a Batman.
Rumors started spreading through town, and particularly around the school, that my mom had been murdered. Dad took things a lot worse than I did. He was a carpenter, so it wasn't unusual behavior for him to disappear into the garage for a long time to work on a chair or table or something. Especially, it was what he always did when he was stressed. I figured that's just how he was dealing with the grief. We barely spoke over the next couple weeks. He was locked in there from sunrise to midnight. And we might bump into each other at one point, but he'd just say goodnight and went to bed.
Damn.
Sure, it was a bit weird, but I understood that he was going through a lot.
He looks
But
broken.
the longer he spent in there, the less I was sure he was doing woodwork. There were large bottles of bleach popping up in our bins, and Dad barely took any break.
Kind of
One
experiment
night,
he doing
I waited
back
for
there,
him to go
bro.
to sleep, and I crept down to try to open the door, but it was locked tight, and Dad always had the key. But today, when I came home from school, he was in the kitchen, freshly shaved, showered, had a rested face. He was totally different from what he'd been for the last couple of weeks. He was cooking. My dad used to love grilling, and his steaks were always amazingly delicious. So it was a nice change, since I fed myself only pot noodles and soup for a few weeks. He set down 2 of the biggest, bloodiest steaks I had ever seen in my life.
Don't tell me that's mom.
But it looked kind of different. Not bad, but just different. Dad tucked into a steak straight away, and I did too. It was a bit tough to chew, but the seasoning and flavors tasted just as good as the rest of the steaks were.
That's crazy, bro. Don't tell me that's
We had finished pretty soon, and I was feeling full and satisfied. Then Dad said something I can't stop thinking about. I doubt they'll ever find her body. His voice didn't sound sad or depressed.
How does he know it was a body,
I didn't
though?
say anything, just stared at him. Hearing what he said sent shivers down my spine.
Damn, bro. What'd she do to you,
Then,
bro?
I thought of the steaks. The late nights in the garage, hundreds of bleach bottles, and my dad's weird behavior. Did he feed me her body?
Hell yeah.
Or am I just overthinking it? What do I do?
I saw something. An unbelievable creature.
When I was 16, my parents, brother, and I were living in an apartment on the 4th floor. Every night, we heard crazy laughing outside of our house.
Fucking crackheads.
At first, we just thought it could have been a neighbor taking care of a sick person, so we didn't worry about it. Then one night, I heard laughing again. It was 11 p.m., and everyone in my house was sleeping. I got out of bed and looked out the window, and I saw nothing. And as soon as I looked out the window, the laughing stopped. It was kind of weird, but anyway, I just went back into bed and slept. After that, I had to use the bathroom at 4:30 a.m. The bathroom was downstairs in the hall, and the bathroom window was facing a big field of grass and a parking lot. After I finished using the bathroom and washed my hands, I heard that crazy loud laugh again for about a whole 30 seconds. It sounded like this person didn't even get tired. He seemed that he needed to catch his breath from this loud and long laughing. I proceeded to look out the window again, and then I saw a group of about 5 dogs going crazy around something. And when the dogs moved, I absolutely felt fear. There was something, another dog. I think it was a dog.
Nobody
It
said
had a
I
dog
think.
body and paws, but not a dog face.
What the fuck?
It had a human face, and it was
Nah,
staring
bro,
at
you
me.
was just high, bro.
It looked at me for a minute and then started to slowly smile.
You was on
Then
psychedelics,
laughed
bro.
again. And that was the same voice that I've heard constantly.
Nah, bro.
I ran to my room, but I
Shit,
couldn't go
not
back
possible.
to sleep. The next morning, I told my parents and brother what had happened, and they thought I had a nightmare. I said that I swear it wasn't a nightmare, but they didn't believe me. They just laughed and ignored it. Everything felt real. I know it was 100% real. But the next few days went by, and I didn't hear anything. And one day, it was getting quite dark outside. I did end up getting a cold from swimming, so my parents and brother went out grocery shopping without me. It was 9 p.m., and I took my dog for a walk for a little while. There was an abandoned house down the block, and my dog took off running to a bush suddenly.
Oh, why would
It
you
was
let
like
go the
something caught his
leash, though,
attention.
bro?
I ran after my dog, and literally, I had to crawl under a fence to go
Can't
and get
stand
him.
y'all.
When I finished crawling under the fence, I ended up cutting my knee. But thankfully, I got my dog, and when I looked up, there that thing was. That dog with a human
You better kick
face.
that shit, bro.
We were face to face. It had glowing green eyes, and it had definitely human face features.
Kick it, bro.
The head was bald.
Drop
I
kick that
screamed,
shit, dog.
and it just started that scary laughing again.
Hell nah.
I ran away with my dog and came back home. Well, I'm 18 now, and my family and I moved away to another place. I don't know what the heck that thing was, and why I've seen it twice. But I'm just glad that I don't see it anymore.
Someone tried to break into my house several times. You think after the second time you buy a
I recently
shotty,
moved out
but
to
nah,
attend university
people don't think
in a
like
different
that.
town, so I rented a flat where I live alone. Every morning, I took my bicycle, which I keep in the basement of my building, and went to my lectures. Usually, the neighborhood is quiet, but one night around 1 o'clock a.m., my door phone rang. This was unusual, but I brushed it off as a mistake from someone who got drunk. It rang again, but I kept ignoring it. This happened at least 3 different times, so it began to annoy me. One day, I returned from my lecture and found a bus ticket placed on my door handle. This ticket was from a bus in my hometown, and it appeared to be mine, as the bus number on it was the bus that I frequently used. At this
Someone's
moment,
stalking you,
I
girl.
started to get concerned that someone was pranking me. That same night, I kept my front window a bit open to keep an eye on the entrance. I live on the 2nd floor, so it's too high for anyone to climb. I shut the lights and waited. And at that moment, the door phone rang again. This time, I checked through the window and there was a shadowy figure of a man. He waited for
Throw a
about
lamp at him.
5 minutes and then left. I considered calling the police, but I had nothing to report besides a strange man ringing my door phone late at night, so I soon ignored it. But what happened some days after almost made me go crazy. It was around 3 a.m., and the door phone rang again. By this time, though, I heard the front door shut.
Oh, shit.
Someone must have forgotten to lock it, so I assumed that the man was now
Yeah,
inside
he
the
in there,
building.
bro.
Terrified, I went to the kitchen and grabbed the biggest knife I had. Then I stood behind the front door and waited. The doorbell rang. I think my stomach dropped at that point. He rang again and then knocked strongly.
Damn.
I stayed frozen for an eternity until I couldn't hear anything. I was relieved and went to sleep after a while, which in hindsight was very stupid, as I should have made sure that the man had left the
Went to
building.
sleep, head ass.
The following morning, as I was leaving for my lecture, I noticed some scratches near the front door's handle, as if someone had tried to mess with the lock. I immediately went to my landlord, who lives right above me, and explained everything that had been going on. He
Bro, that looks
reassured
like the
me
guy
that
himself.
everything would be fine. So I went to get my bike, but as I walked towards the basement door, I noticed that the lock was broken. I finally understood. The man from last night must have hidden in there. I hadn't heard the front door shut again yesterday, so that must have meant that the man was still here.
Damn.
I ran upstairs again and told my landlord.
That
He
boy got hot.
angry, grabbed a
Like,
bat,
why you
and
bother
went to
me,
check.
dog?
All I could hear was struggling noises as my landlord beat that man senseless. We then called the police, who arrived a few moments later.
That boy
and
started beating
arrested
him with a bat, bro.
I still remember his face to this day, as he looked straight at me silently. It turned out that this man had been following me for days and was trying to rob my house. He had done the same thing to other people in the past. I don't know what happened to him afterwards, but I assume he is in prison. I am forever grateful to my landlord for being so brave. We replaced the locks on every door, so now I feel safer. Well, I would have forgotten about this if I didn't open my mailbox recently and find another
They always
bicycle.
come back. That's rule number 2. Alright, so we're gonna stop it right there. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you if you made it to the end. Sorry, I still don't have an intro and I still don't have an outro, but it is what it is, bro. It is what it is. You know how it be. I just want to do these videos for fun. I like scary shit. I like solving crimes and shit like that. Let me know. Send me videos if you guys have any that are, really scary and shit. With that being said, thank you. What's the dude's name? Wansee. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right, but thank you, bro. Thank you for making that video. Thank you so much. Love y'all.